Hello, welcome back to the second video, and we will wrap things up here as we work through percent of error questions. Now, if I could review real quick on the very first page of notes that we had, I guess for you was um, the other side. If you turned it over, we're now going to look at percent of error problems. And to find the percent of error, we have to figure out, well, how much error was there and what was the actual value before the error, or if someone were to guess perfect. So let's look at some examples. If you're confused on what it is that's happening here, let's say that let's just take a look at number 4. Okay, it says the estimated distance that someone estimated between two places was 60 miles. Okay, so let's say you're trying to guess how far it is from here to, I don't know, let's say Topeka. I don't know how far it is. Let's pretend it's actually 75 miles, but you guessed 60. Now the actual distance is 75. So to find the percent of error, there's two things that you need to know. How much did you miss it by? Okay, so you have to calculate the error. It's just like the change from the previous questions in the other video. So you subtract. You need to find the error. How much was your error? Well, you missed it by 15 because 75 minus 60 is 15. Now, the second thing that you need to know is, well, what is the actual distance? The actual distance is 75. So again, what we're figuring out here is percentage of your mistake, or whoever it was, compared to what it actually is. So to find the percent of error, okay, we take this error, which is 15%, error equals 15 divided by the actual distance is 75. And then we multiply that times 100. All right, so you stick 15 divided by 75, multiply that times 100. That comes out to be 20% error. Now, if you were comparing, let's say everyone in the class guessed, and then we compare it, what we would do is we would look at the percent of errors to have an actual understanding of whose errors were the farthest off. Okay, number 5, let's take a look at another one. Let's say that you measured an area of 24 square inches. However, the actual area was 22.5. All right, and you want to figure out, well, what was the percent of error in that measurement? Well, you need to figure out, well, how much did you miss it by? Well, the error would be 24 minus 22.5. All right, well, 24 minus 22.5, that's 1.5. And then you want to know what was the actual. And the actual was 22.5, right? It tells you right there in the question the actual is 22.5. All right, so your percent of error would be the amount of your error, which was 1.5, divided by the actual amount, which was 22.5. Whoops, that's not equal, that's times 100. You divide that, multiply it times 100. I think you get 6.6 repeating, so let's just round that off again to 6.7% error for that problem. All right, it's that easy. Very similar to the last questions. Really easy to do if you'll take the time and just think through what was the error, what was the actual amount right here. One last question here. The estimated amount of rain in May for one part of Texas is 5.6. The actual rainfall was 2.4. What was the percent of error to the nearest percent, the nearest whole percent? They went, okay, so let's find the amount of error. All right, how much did they miss this by? Well, they missed it by 5.6 minus 2.4. That works out to be 3.2. All right, so that was their error, 3.2. What is the actual? The actual amount was 2.4. All right, so the percent of error equals the change, the error divided by the actual, 3.2 divided by 2.4 times 100. 3.2 divided 2.4 times 100. Put that all in your calculator. You get 133.6 0.33333 dot 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 percent. However, they did say rounded to the nearest percent, so the nearest whole percent would be that one. So the answer that they're looking for is 133%. That's rounded off, and there you have it. That is how you find percent of error. So you've got it. Bring those notes to class, and we'll go from there.